The highway was a river of headlights and fear. Ghost Rider cut through it like a burning knife. Cars swerved and screeched as the flaming motorcycle roared between them. Tires smoked, horns blared. Wind tore past his bare skull, but he did not feel it. Fire burned from his eye sockets and out through his ribs. The chain wrapped around his chest rattled and sparked. Up ahead, the black van slammed through a guardrail and bounced back onto the road. The man driving it kept glancing into the mirror. His eyes were wild. His mouth moved in a panic prayer. Please, please, please. Ghost Rider twisted the throttle. The bike jumped forward. Flames poured from its wheels, carving bright lines on the asphalt. The spirit of vengeance did not slow for traffic. Cars slid out of the way as if some unseen hand pushed them aside. Metal twisted, glass cracked. But when Ghost Rider passed, the fire touched nothing that was truly innocent. Inside the skull, another voice spoke. He took 12 lives in 3 days, Zarathos growled. He offered them to demons. There is no mercy here. Johnny Blaze was somewhere under the bone and fire. He knew the facts. He had seen the bodies. He had smelled the blood in that ruined warehouse. Yeah, he thought back. I'm not arguing. The van lurched off the exit, almost flipping. It bounced over the curb and smashed through a fence around an old stone church. Bricks fell. The vehicle skidded to a stop on its side. Ghost Rider followed. He broke through the same fence, hellfire melting iron like wax. The bike slid across the grass, then came to a stop. Firelight splashed across the stained glass windows and the broken stone steps. The man crawled out of the wreck. His suit was torn. Blood ran down his forehead. He dragged the leather bag with one shaking hand and stumbled into the church. Ghost Rider stepped off the bike. His boots left small burning prints on the ground. He walked forward, slow and sure, chain uncoiling with a hiss. Every step made the air hotter. Candles inside the church began to light themselves one by one as he moved closer. The heavy wooden doors slammed shut behind him without a touch. Inside, the air smelled of dust and old prayers. The man had dragged himself to the front of the church. He spilled chalk and strange black candles from the bag. Hands shaking, he drew a circle on the stone floor, smudging symbols that were not meant for this world. Lord Neron, he whispered, voice broken. I call you. I call you across hells. Take me. Save me. Ghost Rider's chain snapped out. It wrapped around the man's wrist and yanked him away from the circle. Bones cracked. The man screamed and fell. Your lord, Ghost Rider said, voice like grinding stone, will not save you. He pulled the sinner close. Fire flared brighter. The man's eyes met the empty sockets of the skull. Look into my eyes, Ghost Rider commanded. The penance stare began. The man gasped as all the EI pain he had caused flooded back on him. He saw every victim, every face, every last moment, their terror, their pleading. It all poured into him like burning metal. But the circle on the floor still glowed. A drop of his blood had landed dead center. The symbols lit up with sickly green light. The candles blew out all at once. The air went cold. The floor cracked open. Reality itself seemed to peel apart below the circle. A spiral of black and green energy clawed upward, pulling at everything. Pews slid across the floor and fell into the hole. Broken pieces of glass flew. Hymn books flipped and whirled. Johnny felt it. This was not his hell. This was something else. Zarathos snarled inside him. This realm is not ours. Another demon. Another lord. He dares to steal our prey. The pull grew stronger. Ghost Rider dug his flaming boots into the stone, but the force dragged him forward. His chain tightened around the screaming man. The circle erupted in light. Then the world flipped. The church vanished. The night sky became a spinning tunnel of darkness and flame. Ghost Rider and the cult leader tumbled through it, pulled through layer after layer of unseen space. Johnny felt his stomach twist. He hated portals. Zarathos did not care. The spirit only burned brighter. They smashed out the other side above a city that was not theirs. Tall black buildings, stone gargoyles, a giant moon hanging low in a dirty sky, neon signs and floodlights scattered like broken stars. Ghost Rider fell toward a rooftop. He hit hard, stone cracking under him. The cult leader bounced and rolled, screaming, then slid off the edge. Ghost Rider's chain snapped out on instinct, wrapping the man's ankle and yanking him back up onto the roof. The bike crashed down next, flipping once in the air before landing upright in a shower of sparks. Its wheels lit up, ready and waiting. Below, in the alley, a drug deal froze. Men in cheap suits and leather jackets stared up with open mouths. One dropped his gun. Another made a sign with his hand, like he was trying to ward off evil. What the... Ghost Rider stepped to the edge. He looked down at them. He could see their sins the way other people saw colors. Robbery, beatings. One of them had killed a girl and never been caught. The chain uncoiled again. He jumped from the rooftop. Flames followed. When he hit the alley floor, the shadows exploded in orange light. One man fired his gun again and again. The bullets melted before they even reached the ribs. Ghost Rider grabbed the worst of them by the throat. The man's skin smoked under that grip. "Please, I'll talk. I'll..." "Look into my eyes," Ghost Rider said. The man did not want to, but he could not look away. The pennant stare locked him in place. His scream echoed against the brick walls as his own crimes poured back over him. The others ran. Ghost Rider turned, ready to judge them too. A black shape dropped into the firelight. A cape snapped open and wrapped a small group of fleeing thugs, knocking them down without letting them fall into the flames. A gloved hand threw small metal shapes into the air. They burst, releasing thick white foam that clung to burning trash and cut off the spread of hellfire. The new figure stood between the fire and the civilians. Pointed ears, a grey suit, a bat on the chest. Batman. Ghost Rider felt the mortal's fear. It was there, deep, wrapped around memories of dark alleys and gunshots. But the fear did not control him. Batman moved with calm purpose. "This is my city," Batman said. His voice was low but steady. Ghost Rider watched him for a moment. Behind the skull, Johnny blinked. He knew that symbol, not from his own world, but from stories, from comics on gas station racks long ago. But this was real. This Gotham felt heavier, older, more tired. "You protect them," Ghost Rider rumbled, "and still the guilty walk free." "I stop them from killing again," Batman replied, "without becoming what they are." He threw a batarang. It struck Ghost Rider's wrist at just the right angle, knocking the chain off course so it missed one of the crawling thugs and instead wrapped around a nearby metal dumpster. The hellfire caught the metal instead of flesh. The dumpster glowed red. Ghost Rider yanked the chain free. For a second, they just stared at each other through smoke and shadow. A burning skeleton from another world and a human wrapped in darkness. Sirens wailed closer. Ghost Rider turned back to the cult leader, still half-conscious on the rooftop above. This man's soul stank of blood and demonic deals. He was the real target. Batman shifted, ready to move if Ghost Rider went for the fleeing henchman. The spirit of vengeance made a decision. With a roar of fire, Ghost Rider leapt back onto the bike. Flames poured from the exhaust as it shot straight up the alley wall, riding vertical stone as if it was a road. He and his prisoner vanished over the roof line. Batman stepped to the alley's center. Foam hissed on hot concrete. The man Ghost Rider had judged lay on the ground, the body still breathing, the mind far away, trapped in his own guilt. Gordon's voice crackled over Batman's comm. "Please tell me this isn't one of yours." Batman stared up at the empty patch of night sky where the fire had torn past. "No," he said, "and it just invaded my city." The cave was quiet, except for the hum of computers and the slow drip of water from above. Bruce Wayne stood in front of the main screen in his cowl, still in the armor from patrol. Dark smudges of soot marked the suit where the foam hadn't reached in time. A faint scorch line showed where hellfire had licked the edge of his gauntlet. The footage looped again. Security cameras from different angles showed the alley, the glowing skull, the bike riding up solid brick as if it were nothing. Fire that ate through metal but somehow didn't spread like normal flames. "Not a metahuman," Bruce said. "Not one of ours, that is for certain," Alfred replied. He stood a step behind, tray in hand, offering a mug of tea. His tie was neat. His eyes were tired but sharp. "Do try not to let the infernal graffiti distract you, Master Bruce." On another screen, high-resolution scans zoomed in on the fire. It was burning at temperatures above most industrial furnaces, Bruce said, but it didn't ignite the surrounding gas lines. It was selective. Selective hellfire. Alfred raised an eyebrow. How comforting. Footsteps came from the upper level of the cave. Damian Wayne slid down the last few steps, cape fluttering behind him. His suit was still on too, though he had removed the mask. His expression was half annoyed, half curious. "You let a flaming skeleton leave, Father," he said. "You should have captured it, or at least cut off the bike." Bruce did not look away from the screen. He shrugged off gunfire. "My batarang barely redirected the chain." He walked through the foam like it wasn't there. "That thing is not just bone and costume." Damian folded his arms. "We have dealt with demons before." "Not like this one," Bruce said. "Its fire responded to guilt. It chose targets." Johnny Blaze flashed across his mind, but Bruce didn't have that name yet. All he had were readings: heat, energy, movement, voice patterns. Alfred set the tea down next to the keyboard. "I did take the liberty of preparing some estimates," he said, tapping a tablet. "The city will expect generous donations after the Narrows incident, but if Mr. Blaze continues to scribble with his motorcycle pen, we may need to open a separate Wayne Foundation fund. Hellfire Road repair has a certain ring to it." Damian almost smiled. "We could design new fireproof armor for the Batmobile." Bruce ignored the joke on the surface, but he stored the idea. Fireproofing, insulation, redesigning grapnels to handle heat. If this Ghost Rider stayed in Gotham, he would need more than foam and clever angles. He pulled off his cowl. "I'm sending data to the watchtower," he said. "We need magical analysis, not just physics." Far above the Earth, the watchtower hung in orbit like a silent metal moon. Inside, a 3D display showed Gotham as a glowing map. A new spike of energy pulsed on it, bright orange with a core of harsh, unnatural white. Clark Kent floated near the screen in his Superman suit, cape hanging still in the artificial gravity. His expression was worried but focused. "That's not any energy signature I know," he said. "It's not Kryptonian, not Lantern, not anything from Apocalypse." Diana, in her armor, folded her arms. "It feels like punishment," she said softly. "Old punishment." Cyborg's face showed in one of the side screens, half human, half machine. He tapped at air, scanning more data. "Thermal output is off the charts," he said, "but it doesn't behave like normal fire. It's burning some things, skipping others. It's like it's picking who gets cooked." Bruce's cowl appeared as a small icon on the display, under a bat symbol. "Batman," Clark said. "You're sure you don't want me down there?" Bruce's voice came through steady. "This is Gotham," he said. "I'll handle the streets, but I need you to keep eyes on the energy signatures, and I need our magic experts." Zatanna's voice cut in, jaunty but serious. "You rang?" she asked. In the background, someone knocked something over with a clatter. "Sending you a sample of the energy readings now," Bruce said. "Tell me if this is anything like the Spectre, Etrigan, or the usual suspects." "Oh, fun," Zatanna answered. "Spicy hellfire mystery. Give me a bit." Diana studied the model of Gotham, where a tiny orange dot moved like a slow comet. "If this is the spirit of punishment," she said, "it might not be an enemy, but if it answers to no one, then we have a problem," Bruce finished. Superman stared a moment longer, then stepped back. "Call if you need backup," he said. "You know I can be there in seconds." "I know," Bruce replied. "For now, watch. Learn. I want to know what this thing does when it is not being watched." The bike's engine echoed between tall brick walls. Ghost Rider rode through Gotham's worst streets, leaving faint scorch marks on rotten asphalt and cracked sidewalks. Neon signs buzzed above him. A drunk yelled from a doorway, then fell silent when he saw the skull. Johnny could feel the city. It was heavy with sin, old and deep, not just robberies and murders, broken systems, corruption in offices high above the streets, 1,000 little cruelties that never made the news. Zarathos reacted like a hunting dog catching a scent. "This city is ripe," the spirit said. "Rot runs from the gutters to the tallest towers. We could burn for 100 nights and never run out of targets." Johnny clenched a part of himself that still remembered soft things. Music. Crowds cheering at a stunt show. A quiet night at a motel with no demons chasing him. "I'm not burning a whole city," he thought back. "We're focusing on the worst, same as always." "The worst are many here," Zarathos answered. "But we will see." They turned down a narrow alley. 3 men were beating someone behind a dumpster. One held a pipe. Another rifled through a wallet. The victim curled up, trying to protect his ribs. Ghost Rider stopped. The men turned. One's eyes widened. "No way," he whispered. "No way that's real." The bike rolled forward on its own, flames licking around its tires. Ghost Rider stepped off. He grabbed the man with the pipe and lifted him one-handed. The others ran. He could have reached them, but he smelled something more in this one's soul. Past crimes, past broken bones on other victims. Johnny and Zarathos agreed, for once. "Look into my eyes," Ghost Rider said. Later, as the man lay shaking on the ground, the victim stared in horror and strange relief. He could not decide if he had just been saved by a monster or punished by an angel. Ghost Rider did not stay to explain. He rode on. In the GCPD bullpen, the coffee pot was empty. The air was stale, and everyone was yelling. Commissioner Jim Gordon stood in the middle of the noise with his glasses off, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Papers were spread over his desk. Crime reports, shaky phone videos, scribbled statements. "Fire demon," one officer said. "That's what they called it." The guy started screaming and then just stopped, another said. "He's alive, but he's not talking, just staring." "Do we even have a code for this?" someone else asked. "Do we call this a meta? A monster? What? Gordon put his glasses back on. Slow down, he said. All of you. The room settled a little, though the stress did not vanish. We've had strange things before, Gordon said. Monsters, aliens, freaks in clown makeup. We follow procedure. We lock down the area. We protect civilians. We let Batman handle the capes. Commissioner, a younger officer said, this thing lit a guy on fire with its eyes, then rode straight up a building. Foam didn't even slow it down. He pushed a tablet across the desk. Gordon watched the shaky video again, the flames, the skull, the cape in the background. He took a long breath. Get every unit near the Narrows ready for rapid response, he said. If this thing starts a fire there, people will die fast. And call the mayor. He'll want to panic, so let's deal with that now. One of his sergeants hesitated. Do we shoot on sight, sir? He asked. If we see the skull. Gordon looked down at the video again, at the criminal lying on the ground, alive but broken. We don't shoot anything unless it attacks an officer or a civilian, he said firmly. We are not starting a war with a flaming skeleton in the middle of Gotham without knowing what it wants. He stepped toward the large window. Out there, the city lights flickered. Somewhere between them, a tiny streak of fire moved along a rooftop or down a dark street. Batman will find it, Gordon said. He always does. He just hoped Batman could stop it, if it needed to be stopped. Far away, in a mountain fortress hidden by snow and clouds, a man in green robes watched Gotham in a bowl of clear water. The image was dim but sharp enough. Ra's al Ghul stroked his beard as the picture of Ghost Rider scorched across the surface of the water. His daughter stood beside him, arms folded, face unreadable. A spirit of fire and judgment, Ra's murmured. In Gotham, of all places. An enemy, Talia asked. Potentially, he said, but also a tool. Imagine it, my daughter. A force that burns only the guilty. A blade of a pure retribution. If such a thing can be guided, we could cut out the cancer of this world far faster than with swords and whispers. And if it cannot be guided, she asked. Ra's smiled thinly. Then we learn its limits, he said. And if needed, we break it. In a level of hell that did not belong to Johnny Blaze, something shifted. The throne room of Neron was carved from dark stone that swallowed light. Souls floated in chains above a floor that had never seen sunlight. The air smelled of old deals and newer lies. Neron sat, fingers tapping on the arm of his throne. A ripple of new energy brushed against his realm. It did not belong here. It was sharp and bright, mixed with a familiar taste of mortal sin, but foreign. A small, broken soul was dragged before him by unseen forces. It was the cult leader. His eyes were empty now. His body was gone. Only the twisted echo of his sins remained. Lord Neron, the soul croaked. He took me. Neron leaned forward, amused. Oh, I see, he said. Another hell has spilled into my hunting ground. He let a thin smile curl on his lips. A spirit of vengeance, he murmured. How interesting. And it walks in Gotham, a city already rich in fear and corruption. He closed his hand around the soul. I think, Neron said, we can do business. The chains above rattled as he began to shape the cult leader into something new. Not a full demon, not yet, but a useful pawn. And far above, in Gotham streets, the hellfire that did not belong to him burned on. Batman waited on the rooftop, alone. The wind was cold. The stone under his boots was still slightly blackened from an old fire. He had chosen this spot carefully, a place with a clear view of 3 alleys where violent crimes often happened. Tonight, the crime was staged. Down below, projected illusions and remote-controlled drones acted out a robbery. Holographic figures grabbed fake purses. A clever sound system played screams and sirens. From a distance, from scent alone, it looked and sounded real. Bruce watched the city. He knew the Fire Rider was still out there. The pattern of scorched paths and strange reports pointed toward this area. He had baited similar hunters before. He hoped this one would come. On his belt, a small device hummed. Zatanna's magic circle glowed on its screen, faint but active. She had sent it with a warning. If this thing is a demonic spirit, don't stare too long into its eyes. Don't give it your name, and definitely don't sign anything. Bruce had replied with a simple, "Noted." Now he waited. A low rumble reached his ears before the flames did. The bike surged out from a side street, riding straight along a vertical brick wall, leaving lines of fire on either side. It dropped into the fake crime scene, wheels bursting in light. The holograms flickered. The scent of guilt, carefully crafted using stolen items from real criminals, drew the spirit's attention. Ghost Rider stepped off. He looked around. The hollow socket seemed confused for a second. Then his head turned toward Batman. The illusion failed. The rider could see through the trick. He could smell true sin, and there was none here. Only burnt memories, old blood on stone, fresh lies in the setup. He tilted his skull. "You tried to trick me," he said. Bruce stepped out of the shadows, cape still, eyes narrow. "I needed to talk," he answered, "without bystanders." Ghost Rider's chain rattled, moving like a living thing. "You cannot stop judgment," he said. "I can stop you from burning my city down," Batman replied. "Or I can try. I'd rather not fight a war on every street corner." They stood facing each other, maybe 20 feet apart. Up close, Bruce could feel the heat on his skin, even through the suit. It was more than any normal fire. It felt like standing too close to an open furnace and to a confession booth at the same time. "Who are you?" Batman asked. There was a pause. Then the flames around the skull dimmed, just a little. "Johnny Blaze," a rough human voice said, from inside the skeleton. "I didn't mean to come here. Some idiot opened a door he didn't understand." "Another world," Batman said. It wasn't a question. Johnny almost smiled inside. "You're quick. The energy signature doesn't match any magic source in this universe," Batman said. "You judge the guilty. You ride a flaming motorcycle up buildings." He let a beat pass. "You stand out." Ghost Rider's jaw shifted in something like a grin. "This city is full of sin," Zarathos said now, voice different, older. "You fail it, again and again." Batman's eyes narrowed behind the lenses. "I don't kill," he said. "That's not failure. That's a line. A line that lets monsters breathe," the spirit growled. A batarang flew. It was aimed not at the skull, but at the chain. Ghost Rider whipped the chain to knock it away, and felt a sudden jolt. The batarang pulsed with a brief, blue-white charge. Zatanna's work. It didn't hurt, but it made the chain jerk a few inches off target. Enough for Batman. He fired a small cylinder from his gauntlet. It burst in mid-air, spraying a foam that hardened around Ghost Rider's boots and the bike's wheels. The fire still burned, but the foam did not melt. It was a mix of science and magic, designed for exactly this test. Ghost Rider looked down, then he pulled. The foam cracked, not easily, but it cracked. The hellfire flared brighter. Within seconds, the rider stepped free, bits of hardened goop falling away. "You cannot bind vengeance," he said. "Good," Batman said quietly, "because I'm not trying to bind you. I'm trying to understand you." He lowered his arm. "You protect innocent people," he said. "You hurt the guilty, but you do it by burning them inside their own minds. That might be worse than what they do." "They feel what they gave," Zarathos answered. "No more, no less." "And who decides what they gave?" Batman asked. "Truth," the spirit said. Bruce thought of all the times people had lied to him, to each other, even to themselves. He thought of a city built on secrets. He did not say all of that. Instead, he said, "In my city, we don't execute people in the streets. We stop them. We give them a chance to be better, even when they don't deserve it." "And how often does that work?" Zarathos asked. Bruce did not flinch. "Often enough that I keep trying," he said. "I won't tell you to leave. I don't think you can. But if you turn Gotham into a burning graveyard, I will stop you. Or die trying." The wind tugged at his cape. Ghost Rider stared for a long moment. Inside, Johnny spoke up. "We can focus on the real monsters," he thought at the spirit. "The ones no jail can handle. We don't need to fight every thug he catches." Zarathos burned in quiet anger. But even a spirit could see usefulness when it stood in front of him, wrapped in armor and stubborn will. "We will hunt the worst," Ghost Rider said at last. "The ones whose souls already belong in chains. For now, Batman, we will not burn your entire city." "That's a start," Batman said. Sirens echoed in the distance again. Ghost Rider turned. He stepped back onto the bike. The flames roared louder, washing orange light over Batman's armor. Then the bike leapt off the rooftop, climbing the air like an invisible ramp. In seconds, the fire was gone. Batman stood alone again. Alfred's voice came over the comm. "I assume negotiations went as well as they could with a flaming skull, sir." Bruce watched the sky. "We have an uneasy truce," he said. "For now, and a lot of streets about to need new pavement." "I shall notify the finance department," Alfred replied. "We may need a new column in the budget. Demonic tire marks." Bruce let out the smallest exhale that almost counted as a laugh. Then he pulled his cowl back on. "Send me everything Zatanna found," he said. "This isn't over. Something sent him here. Something else is watching." He fired his grapnel and shot off into the night. Far below Gotham's poorest blocks, in a forgotten basement beneath crumbling brick, a body twitched. It was the cult leader. At least it used to be. Neron's mark crawled like glowing veins under his skin, tracing symbols along his arms and neck. His eyes lit up with a sickly green fire. The floor around him was etched with fresh runes in a mix of blood and tar. He gasped and sat up, clutching his chest. He remembered the penance stare, the burning weight of all his sins, the feeling of being stripped down to raw guilt. Then he remembered Neron's voice. "You wanted to escape judgment," the demon had said. "Instead, you will help me reshape it. You will be my hook in this city." Now he felt different, stronger. He reached out. The wall in front of him rippled like water. It opened into a small slit of darkness that led somewhere else. He smelled heat and heard distant screams. He smiled. "Gotham," he whispered. "Let's see what you fear." He stepped into the tunnels, Neron's whispers curling around his mind like oily smoke. Above, the city slept uneasily, and in the narrows, a man in a burlap mask and a dirty lab coat checked the nozzles on his fear gas canisters, unaware that a new kind of nightmare was walking toward him. The TV in Gordon's office kept replaying the same burning street. Someone had filmed from an apartment window in the Narrows. The video shook as the person tried to hold their phone steady. Fear gas mist rolled through the street like a dirty fog. People ran into each other, screaming at things no one else could see. Then the fire came. A motorcycle of pure flame burst out of the haze. Ghost Rider rode straight through a crashing car, the metal bending around him like it was soft. He flung his chain and dragged the horned shadow thing out of a broken street, then burned it until it melted into black mud. On the edge of the shot, the Batmobile skidded sideways, blocking a collapsing wall from falling on a group of kids. Batman leaped out, gas mask on, pulling people into the car's armored shell one by one. The video stopped. Gordon clicked back and watched again. The Narrows still smelled faintly of fear gas. The cleanup teams had worked most of the night. Hospitals were full but stable. They were lucky more people hadn't died. He took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. The door creaked. A young officer peered in. "Commissioner, the mayor is on line 2, she said. He wants to know if this Hell Night is under control." Gordon almost laughed, but it came out as a tired breath. "Tell him I'm on it," he said. "Tell him we're coordinating with Batman. And no, we cannot just arrest the demon." The officer nodded and left. Gordon turned the volume up a little. In the video, Ghost Rider faced the warped shape of the man Gordon now knew had been behind a string of ritual killings. The Narrows had almost become the center of some deep, ugly ritual. Fear gas and hellfire together. Scarecrow had been there too, screaming until his own gas turned on him. Batman had taken Scarecrow in. The other thing had taken the ritualist. Gordon put his glasses back on. He thought of the people Batman had saved that night. He thought of the way Ghost Rider had walked straight through a collapsing building, flames bursting out of every window, just to reach a stranger trapped under a car. He also thought of the man Ghost Rider had judged in the middle of the street. The body was now in a hospital bed, eyes open, mind somewhere else, a living shell full of his own guilt. "Are you a hero or a monster?" Gordon asked the silent screen. He wasn't sure of the answer. The rooftop was wet from the earlier rain. Gordon stood near the edge, coat flapping, looking up at the dark sky. The bat signal cut through the low clouds, a pale shape of a bat on the moisture. He lit a cigarette with shaking hands. "You know those things will kill you." The voice came from behind him. Gordon didn't jump anymore when Batman did that. He just turned, took a drag, and gave a tired half smile. "Between the fear gas, the demons, and the sleepless nights," he said, "I think the cigarettes are the least of my problems." Batman stepped out of the shadows. His cape was still torn at one edge. There were faint scorch marks on his armor. Even the bat emblem on his chest had a little melted patch, where hellfire had gotten too close. "Scarecrow's in custody," Batman said. "His gas won't hit the streets again for a while." "Until he breaks out," Gordon replied. He watched the smoke drift away. "Or until some other lunatic picks up his formula from a hard drive we missed." They were both silent for a moment. "People are saying this Hell Night saved the Narrows," Gordon said. "They saw him burn things that came out of the ground. They saw him pull a woman out of a car that was half melted. The news is calling him Gotham's demon." "And you?" Batman asked. Gordon looked at him. "I saw the same footage you did," he said. "He burns the worst of them, but he empties them too. There's nothing left after he's done, even the truly evil ones. It feels wrong to let one thing decide they never get another chance." Batman looked down at the streets. "The penance stare," he said. "Zatanna called it that. It forces them to feel every bit of pain they caused, all at once. It doesn't kill the body, it burns the soul." "Do you think that's justice?" Gordon asked quietly. Batman didn't answer right away. "I think it's punishment," he said at last. "And I think punishment without a way back is dangerous, even when they deserve it." Gordon flicked ash off the edge of the building. "I'm a cop," he said. "I see cases fall apart all the time. Witnesses back out, judges bend. Money changes everything. It's hard not to want something like that on our side. One touch, and the worst of them never hurt anyone again." He shook his head. "But I also remember what this city looked like when I arrived," he went on. "Corrupt cops, corrupt judges, people with badges making the choices that demon is making now." He looked Batman straight in the eye. "I support you because you don't cross that line," he said. "If you ever did, I think Gotham would lose something we can't get back." Batman's jaw tightened. "I'm not going to start using hellfire," he said. "Good," Gordon said softly. "Because if you did, I don't know who would stop you. That demon, the alien in blue, the gods." He shook his head. "I don't want to find out." Siren wailed in the distance. Gordon took one last drag and crushed the cigarette under his shoe. "So what do we do about him?" he asked. "The demon." "Watch him," Batman said. "Learn his limits. Use him against the things that even the League has trouble with. And if he turns on the city, you'll try to stop him," Gordon finished. "I'll stop him," Batman said. There was no doubt in his voice. Gordon nodded, even though the idea of Batman fighting a walking furnace made his stomach twist. "Then I'll make sure my people don't start that war early," he said. "They're jumpy. Some of them like the idea of a monster on our side. Some of them want to shoot him in the skull." "I saw," Batman said. "Their bullets didn't do much." "Still," Gordon said, "we don't need to poke the fire more than it's already poked." He turned, ready to walk back to the roof door. "Jim," Batman said. Gordon paused. "You did good tonight," Batman said. "You kept the Narrows from becoming a mass grave." Gordon smiled, small but real. "Team effort," he said. "Let's hope our new, hot-headed friend stays on the right side of the line." He left the roof. When he turned back once to glance at the skyline, Batman was gone. Only the bat signal and a faint memory of fire lit the night. The Watchtower war room felt tense. Superman floated above the floor, arms folded, watching the hologram of Gotham spin slowly. Tiny lights marked police reports, energy spikes, and known villains. One area glowed a deep orange, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. "That's where the biggest spike happened?" he asked. "Yeah," Cyborg said. His fingers moved quickly through the air, scrolling through columns of numbers. Narrows. Energy output was insane. It fried some of our low-orbit sensors for a few seconds. On the far side of the room, Wonder Woman rested one hand on the hilt of her sword. "Batman barely asked for help," she said. "That is not like him when entire blocks are at risk." "He asked for a scan," Superman said. "Magic scans. He wanted to see what we were dealing with before he cooled us down." As if on cue, a new window opened in the air. Zatanna appeared, wearing her usual mix of stage outfit and battle gear. Her hair was messy, and there were faint scorch marks along her sleeves. "Okay," she said. "I've got something." They all turned toward her image. "I pulled a sample of the energy pattern from Gotham," she went on, waving a hand over glowing lines on her side. "This stuff is hellfire, real deal, but not from any hell we know. It's like, imagine if someone brought foreign currency into your bank. Same concept, new faces. Can we trust it?" Diana asked. "The one who wields it?" Zatanna made a face. "It's complicated," she said. "The spirit inside him, Zarathos, is pure vengeance. Not justice, not balance, just payback. But there's a human host, Johnny Blaze. He keeps it from going completely off the rails. Most of the time, Superman said. Most of the time, Zatanna agreed. He can tell innocent from guilty in a way normal people can't. It's scary, but also handy. He went after the worst of the worst in the Narrows. He actually passed over a few people who were just scared and doing petty stuff. Cyborg zoomed in on one part of the map. So he's like a living lie detector, he asked. An angry one. That's one way to put it, Zatanna said. But here's the thing. He answers to his own sense of right and wrong, and to a demon that has a very simple view of the world. No courts, no due process, no second chances. Superman frowned. We can't let someone like that run wild on Earth, he said, even if he helps sometimes. Batman knows that, Wonder Woman said. He also knows Gotham's demons better than any of us. If he says he wants to try an uneasy truce, we back him, until he asks for more. Zatanna nodded. I've given him tools, she said. Special foam, bindings that can at least slow the rider down, and a few charms to protect his mind from that pen and stare if things go bad. But I reminded him, if Johnny loses control and Zarathos takes full charge, we may all have a problem, Superman finished. He looked at the map again. A small bat symbol appeared near the orange pulse, showing Batman's last known location. I'll stay in orbit, he said. If things spike beyond Gotham, I go in. But until then, it's his call. Diana stepped closer to the map. The spirit of vengeance will draw trouble, she said. Hell lords, dark magicians, people like Ra's al Ghul. They all love weapons they don't control, but think they can. Zatanna sighed. You're not wrong, she said. I'll start listening for new demon deals. If anyone is whispering about selling Gotham's soul, I want to know. Cyborg raised a hand. And I'll keep an eye on Gotham's repair budget, he said. If the fire skeleton keeps melting roads, Wayne Enterprises is going to have a bad time. Despite the tension, that got a small laugh from the room. Even Superman smiled. The old theatre had burned down years ago. Only the stone arches and bits of the stage were left, half swallowed by weeds. Moonlight spilled through the open roof. Bats flitted overhead. Ghost Rider stood at the center of the broken stage. Ra's al Ghul stood across from him, straight-backed, hands clasped behind his back. Talia was near the edge, watching with cold, keen eyes. League of Assassins shadows waited in the ruins, silent. Thank you for accepting my invitation, Ra's said. Ghost Rider's skull tilted. I did not accept, he said. I came because your men attacked a man in the wards who beat his wife and children. Their sins were many, his were more. One of the assassins in the shadows made a small sound. Ra's gave the man a tiny, sharp look. The man fell silent. You burn the guilty, Ra's said. This city has more than its share. But it is not just individuals who are corrupt. Entire systems, governments, corporations. The League has long worked to correct this, slowly, carefully. He stepped closer, unafraid of the heat. Imagine what we could do together, he said. You, a blade that cuts only sinners. Me, a mind that knows where to aim you. Inside the skull, Johnny tensed. Here we go, he thought. Zarathos smoldered. He understands, the spirit said. He sees rot in the world. He sees the need for fire. Ghost Rider's voice came out low and rough. You kill in shadows, he said to Ra's. You decide who deserves to live. And you don't? Ra's asked calmly. You judge based on sin. I judge based on harm to the planet. People who poison the world. Leaders who crush the poor. We are not so different. We are not the same, Ghost Rider answered. Your hands are full of blood that was not yours to spill. Raz smiled, thin and knowing. Of course they are, he said. Change is never clean, but I accept the weight. Do you? Or do you hide behind this city's cape-wearing madman and his rules? Talia's eyes narrowed slightly, watching for the rider's reaction. Johnny burned inside. I don't hide, he thought. I don't work for Batman. I work to keep you all from turning the world into ash. He forced words through the fire. I follow the innocent, Ghost Rider said. I hunt their pain. I will not be your weapon. Raz nodded slowly, as if he expected that answer. Then we are on opposite sides, he said. For now. But mark my words, Spirit. When you grow tired of watching the bat catch and release monsters, when you see that his mercy keeps the cycle turning, you will wish you had joined me. He turned his back and walked toward the archway. Talia followed, but as she passed, she paused and looked Ghost Rider right in the eyes. He is right about one thing, she said. Gotham eats its own. Ask yourself how many lives you spare when you leave someone breathing. She left. Ghost Rider stood alone on the stage, heat rising around him, cracking old paint. Johnny's thoughts churned. He's twisting it, Johnny told Zarathos. He doesn't want justice. He wants control, a world that fits his vision. And what do you want? The spirit asked quietly. A world with no sin. That will never be. A world where you never have to burn again. That will never be either. Ghost Rider did not answer. He climbed onto the bike and rode into the night. The next morning, Johnny Blaze woke up under a bridge. The fire was gone. His skin was pale and dirty. His clothes smelled like smoke and old oil. His head pounded the way it always did after a long night. Cars rumbled overhead. He sat up slowly, rubbing his face. The bike was parked nearby in its normal, non-flaming form. It still didn't look right. Too sharp in some places, too old in others. The hell magic never fully went away. A small shape watched him from a few yards away. It was a kid, maybe 10 years old, with a backpack that looked too big and shoes that had seen better days. He held a sandwich wrapped in paper. You okay, mister? The boy asked. Johnny blinked. You shouldn't be down here, he said. His voice was rough from smoke. It's not safe. The kid shrugged. Nowhere's really safe, he said. But the people up top pay more attention. Down here, nobody cares what you do. Johnny couldn't argue with that. The kid stepped a little closer. I saw you last night, he said. On the news. On your bike. You were on fire. Johnny tensed. That wasn't me, he said automatically. The kid rolled his eyes. I'm not stupid, he said. Your bike looks the same. And your jacket. My mom says half the stuff on the news is fake. But I know real fire when I see it. He held out the sandwich. You look like you need this more than me, he said. Johnny stared at the food. His stomach growled. He hadn't eaten real food in a while. Keep it, he said. You're a growing kid. So are you, the boy said. Or you should be. He pushed the sandwich into Johnny's hands. I have another one upstairs. They were giving them away. Some new charity thing. Johnny sighed and took it. Thanks, he said. He unwrapped it and took a bite. It was plain and a little dry, but it tasted like normal life, like mornings before curses and demons. You live near here? Johnny asked. Over there, the kid said, pointing up toward a grey building. My mum works nights. I come down here sometimes to look at the river and the graffiti, but now I guess I come to check on flaming bikers too. Johnny snorted. You should stay out of trouble, he said. This city, it's not kind. The boy shrugged. Some people are, he said. The bat saved my cousin once, when he had a gun to his head. And you," he paused, "last night you pulled that lady out of her car, the one that was on fire." Johnny remembered. He had stepped into heat that would have melted steel. To him, it was nothing. To her, it had been a death trap. Her scream still echoed in his skull. "You scared me," the kid said. "But you also saved her, so thanks, I guess." He turned and started to climb the slope back toward the street. "Hey," Johnny called. The kid looked back. "What's your name?" Johnny asked. "Luis," the boy said. "What's yours, the real one?" "Johnny," he said. "Johnny Blaze." "Okay, Mr. Blaze," Luis said. "Try not to burn down my building, okay?" He grinned and ran off before Johnny could answer. Johnny smiled despite himself. Then the smile faded. He knew better than anyone that people who were kind for no reason were the ones who got hurt first when things went bad. He finished the sandwich and stood up. "Luis stays off the list," he told Zarathos. "The boy is innocent," the spirit said. "He is not our concern." "Good," Johnny said. "Then we agree." For once, Neron's throne room glowed with fresh energy. The nearly demon who had once been the cult leader knelt before the throne. His shape was twisted now, horns beginning to grow, fingers sharpened into claws, eyes pools of sickly light. "You failed to open me a gate in the Narrows," Neron said, tapping one finger against the throne's arm. "But you were useful in other ways." The nearly demon flinched. The rider's gaze hurt him as much as it hurt me, he croaked. "You tasted that. You felt what he is." Neron smiled. "Yes," he said. "The spirit inside him is not of this hell, but it is still a burning coin I can trade. Its very presence in that city weakens the wall between worlds. People are afraid. They sin more when they are afraid. They make deals when they are desperate." He stood and walked down the steps. "Gotham is a ripe orchard of souls," he said. "And now it is guarded by both a bat who will not kill and a rider who will not stop. How delicious." He lifted the nearly demon's chin with one finger. "We will adjust our plan," Neron said. "No more simple fear gas tricks. We will take those touched by the rider's flame. We will tug them down, one by one, until both bat and spirit understand that their actions feed me." He snapped his fingers. Chains whirled down from the darkness above. Each chain held a glowing point of light. Faces flickered within them. Criminals who had brushed against hellfire. People saved at the last second. Souls brushed by judgment, but not fully taken. "These will be our hooks," Neron said. "Send your shadow back. Let him walk Gotham's dead places. Let him take the ones the rider has marked. That will bring him running." The nearly demon bowed low. "Yes, my lord," he said. "And do not forget one thing," Neron added. "The bat cares for innocence. The rider cares for justice. So take some who are both close to guilt and close to innocence. Children, loved ones, those who stand on the line. That is how we bend them." He laughed softly. The sound made the chains shake. People started to vanish. At first, Batman thought it was just Gotham being Gotham. People skipped parole meetings. Witnesses did not answer doors. A small-time crook who had once testified against a gang simply stopped showing up to work. But the pattern bothered him. Bruce sat in front of his back computer, cowl off, eyes moving fast across reports Alfred had sorted for him. "These 10 all have one thing in common," Alfred said, pointing with a gloved hand. "They were present at one of the Hellfire incidents. Some were criminals, some were just nearby." "Any bodies?" Bruce asked. "None," Alfred said. "No blood, no signs of struggle. It is as if they stepped out for milk and walked into the underworld instead. Bruce zoomed in on Luis's building. He swallowed. Luis was still listed as present, for now. Several of them were touched by the penance stare, Bruce said. Others were only close to it. He leaned back in his chair. Somebody is hunting in his shadow, he said, using his presence as a map. On a smaller screen, a city map lit up with tiny dots. Each dot was an incident where Ghost Rider had used his powers. A new set of dots appeared, places where people had gone missing in the last week. They lined up too well. This is not random, Bruce said. Someone is trying to make him react, or trying to harvest what he leaves behind. Alfred frowned. And what will he do when he learns? He asked. Will he feel guilty or angry? Both, Bruce said. He stood. Get the car ready, he said. I need to find him before he tears the city apart looking for whoever is stealing his souls. The first person Johnny noticed missing was a face, not a name. He rode past the small market where he had once stopped a robbery. An old woman who ran a stall selling fruit always nodded to him in the daytime now, even when he walked by without fire. Today, her stall was closed. An empty chair sat behind the counter. A sign written in shaky letters said, "Back soon." But the fruit was already starting to rot. Johnny felt a cold twist in his gut. He asked around. People shrugged. Someone thought they saw her leaving early the night before. Someone else said she had gone to check on a cousin and never come back. Later, he passed by another place, a mechanic's shop where he had stopped a drunk from beating a worker. The worker, a quiet guy with grease always on his hands, had once slipped Johnny a bottle of water and a simple, "Thanks." The shop was dark, the door locked. The owner had no idea where the worker had gone. Johnny stopped under the bridge where Luis liked to sit. No sign of the kid. He checked the building. Knocked on the door, he remembered. A tired woman answered with dark circles under her eyes and lines of worry on her face. "Luis?" Johnny asked. The woman stiffened. "Who are you?" she demanded. Johnny realized how strange he must look. "A friend," he said. "He gave me a sandwich once." Her shoulders dropped a little. "He's gone," she said. Her voice cracked. Johnny's chest tightened. "What happened?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "He went to the corner store yesterday afternoon. He never came back. People say it's the gangs. Some say it's that demon thing. I just want my boy." She pressed a hand to her mouth, fighting tears. Johnny felt Zarathos stir. "The boy is innocent," the spirit said. "His loss is not judgment. This is theft. Another demon's game." Johnny's hands curled into fists. "Whoever took him," he said, "will pay." He looked up at the skyline. Somewhere in the dark, Gotham's demons laughed. Johnny blazed and the spirit of vengeance burned. The nightclub pulsed with bass and bad decisions. Lights flashed. The music pounded. People danced, drank, and tried to forget they lived in a city where clowns and demons sometimes fought in the streets. In a private room above the floor, a crime boss named Marco Red Jack Lucero counted cash. He had a thick gold chain on his neck, rings on his fingers, and a smug smile on his face. Tattoo ink peeked out from under his collar, strange sharp shapes that glowed faintly under blacklight. One of his men shifted nervously. "Boss," he said, "you sure this protection thing will work?" Red Jack rolled his eyes. "The demon hits the weak," he said. "Scared little street rats. I'm not weak. I paid good money for this protection spell. That freak shows up. The spirit I bought will handle him." He tapped the sigil tattooed over his heart. "It cost me 3 months of profit," he said. But once the demon is mine, we'll be untouchable. Down on the dance floor, nobody noticed when the shadows at the back wall grew thicker. A motorcycle engine roared somewhere outside. Batman landed on a rooftop across the street, cape snapping once before it settled. He crouched and looked down through the glass into the nightclub. His lenses tinted automatically as the flashing lights tried to blind him. He saw dancers, guards, a back hallway leading to the private rooms. He also saw a faint glow, a symbol on Red Jack's chest, visible through heat-sensitive mode. It matched the pattern from Neron's mark. Alfred's voice hummed in his ear. "The power usage at that club is impressive," Alfred said. "Also, I have just seen the latest repair estimate from the Narrows. If our flaming friend melts another main road, I might have to start selling old Wayne family paintings." Batman almost grunted a laugh. "Put them in fireproof storage," he said. "This might get hot." He fired a grapnel and swung to the side of the building. He wasn't the only one heading there. 2 blocks away, Ghost Rider turned a corner, flames reflecting off shop windows. He had followed the smell of the mark. It had led him straight to Red Jack's club, like a sharp nail in his mind. Johnny's thoughts were simple now. Find who is using those symbols. Find who is taking people. Make them stop. Zarathos agreed completely. "Their sins are heavy," the spirit growled. "We will burn them all." "Not all," Johnny snapped back. "Just the ones behind this." "We will see," the spirit said. The bike hit the back alley and shot straight up the brick wall. Red Jack's guard in the hallway heard something above him. A low roar. A deep rumble. Something hot. He frowned and opened the door to look into the alley. A flaming motorcycle came through the wall. Brick exploded inward. Fire blasted along the ceiling. The guard flew backward, slamming into the far wall, his gun skidding across the floor. Ghost Rider stepped through the broken bricks. People screamed. The music cut off in a burst of feedback. On the dance floor, someone pointed up at the balcony. "Oh my God," a woman yelled. "It's the demon!" Ghost Rider ignored the crowd. He walked straight toward the stairs, chain dragging behind him, leaving a trail of burning marks on the floor. The club sprinklers kicked on, but the water turned to steam before it hit him. Up in the private room, Red Jack froze. "Oh no," he whispered. "No, no, no." He slammed his hand onto a hidden panel. Below the sigil on his chest, carved lines in the floor lit up. They formed the same sharp symbol, but bigger. The air went heavy. The sound of the club blurred. "Spirit of protection," Red Jack shouted. "I call you, defend your master." Downstairs, Batman swung through a shattered window and landed on a support beam above the dance floor. He saw Ghost Rider on the stairs. He saw panicked people shoving each other, trying to get away. He saw water turning to steam. "Everyone to the exits," he shouted, amplifying his voice with his cowl. "Move now." People recognized that voice. They moved faster, pushing toward doors as security tried to control the chaos. Batman fired grapnels at 2 supports. He yanked, pulling a balcony rail down just enough to form a makeshift slide toward an emergency exit. People climbed over, sliding away from the hot stairwell. "Ryder," Batman called. "Stand down. This place is packed with civilians." Ghost Rider didn't stop. "The mark is here," he said. "He took them." "You don't know that," Batman snapped. "Not yet." The floor under Ghost Rider's feet glowed. Lines of light shot out from under Red Jack's room, racing along beneath the club. The air crackled. The walls shook. Batman looked around. "Oh no," he said softly. The protection spell wasn't a shield. It was a summoning. The floor exploded. They fell into the dark together. The entire center of the nightclub collapsed. Tables, chairs, lights, and people tumbled down into a wide old tunnel below the building. Dust and smoke filled the air. Batman fired a grapnel at the falling balcony and swung, catching 2 people by the arms. He let the momentum carry them toward a solid patch of floor and rolled, dropping them gently before bouncing to his feet. Ghost Rider hit the lower tunnel like a meteor. The fire around him flared and kept him from being crushed. A chunk of concrete bounced off his skull and turned to ash. Red Jack screamed as the floor under his room tilted. He slid forward, dropped his stack of cash, and fell into the hole. The lines of light coiled around him. For a moment, everything was still. Then something roared. From the pit, a shape rose. It was part machine, part beast, part nightmare. Steel beams bent and welded themselves into a ribcage. Wires and cables wrapped around them like veins. The demon's head was a twisted mix of animal skull and car front, headlights glowing red. Power lines sparked along its spine. It climbed up, huge and hunched, pulling itself into the tunnel with claws made from rebar and broken pipes. Its roar shook dust from the ceiling. It had Red Jack half fused into its chest, his tattoo at the very center, glowing. Batman watched in a flash of cold understanding. The spell merged with the club, he said, and the power grid. Civilians still lay scattered in the broken tunnel floor, coughing. The demon turned its head. Its mouth opened, and a blast of hot electric air rolled out. People clutched their heads as images flashed in front of their eyes. Car crashes, burning apartments, drowning streets. Fear. It was feeding on fear like Scarecrow's gas had done. But now, it did not need a mask or a hose. It was wired into Gotham's own nerves. Ghost Rider stepped forward. The demon took a step too. They crashed together. From Batman's point of view, they looked like 2 storms colliding. Ghost Rider's chain whipped around the demon's arm and dug into metal and flesh. Hellfire crawled along the links, trying to burn the unholy mix of steel and demon. The demon swung Ghost Rider like a toy, slamming him into the tunnel wall hard enough to crack concrete. Flames splashed out, but they did not harm the civilians. Batman sprinted among the fallen people, grabbing arms, dragging them back toward the safer side of the tunnel. He tossed smoke pellets behind him, trying to hide their escape from the demon's gaze. "Up the rubble," he shouted. "Follow the light." He fired a flare toward a break in the ceiling. It lit a possible path where debris formed a slope up to another service door. "Go," he urged. "Move." Above him, the demon roared again. This time, Batman felt it in his head. The tunnel around him twisted. For a second, he was not in Gotham. He was in Crime Alley, standing in a pool of his parents' blood. Then he was in a ruined cave, Jason's broken body at his feet. Then it was a burning building where he arrived too late. He stumbled. He grabbed the rough wall and forced his eyes to stay open. "It's in your mind," he told himself. "It's not real. You know what's real." A small hand grabbed his arm. He looked down. A teen girl with tear tracks on her face stared up at him. "Please," she said. "I keep seeing things. I can't." Batman put a small mask over her nose and mouth. It hummed once, filtering air, sending a mild shock to her nervous system to snap her out of the worst. "Look at me," he said. Her eyes focused. "Follow the light," he said. "Don't look back." He pushed her toward the others. He looked back toward the fight. Ghost Rider was on one knee. The demon had blasted a wave of images at him too. Johnny saw every soul he had ever judged, every scream, every face. He felt their suffering again. The guilt tried to press him down. "We do what must be done," Zarathos hissed. "Do not falter now." "I'm not faltering," Johnny thought. "Just sick of watching people hurt." He forced one foot forward. Hellfire flared brighter. The demon's fear visions burned away in a ring of orange light. Ghost Rider leapt and drove his chain straight into the demon's open mouth. Batman's mind snapped into sharp focus. Fear was the demon's weapon. Guilt was its fuel. But it still had a body made of metal and power lines. So it could be pinned, controlled, cut off. He opened a link to the Bat computer in the cave. "Alfred," he said quietly, "I need access to Gotham's old power grid, the line that runs under 5th and Warden." "That line is barely holding as it is," Alfred replied over the comm. "If we overload it, we could plunge half the district into darkness." Batman watched the demon suck power from the tunnel walls. "Trust me," he said. "A blackout is better than a demon with free electricity." "I'll reroute as much as I can," Alfred sighed. "But I expect a very large bill from the city after this, sir. Wayne Enterprises cannot keep paying for unplanned demonic infrastructure tests." "Add it to the Hellfire Fund," Batman said. He fired a gadget at the tunnel wall. It stuck, then shot out cables that wrapped around nearby metal bars and supports. He fired another one into the demon's side. It hit, magnetizing, snapping stray metal toward it. The demon roared as bits of rebar, discarded pipes, and twisted club support beams slammed onto its back and limbs. They didn't hurt it, but they weighed it down. Ghost Rider saw what Batman was doing. He wrapped his chain around one of the demon's legs and pulled, adding Hellfire as a second glue. The metal there melted and then hardened in a twisted lock. The demon tried to pull power from the grid. Instead, Gotham's grid pulled back. Alfred flipped a set of switches on his end. Old circuits woke up. Power surged not into the demon, but into the magnetic clamps Batman had fired. They intensified, yanking more metal toward the demon and clamping it against the tunnel walls. "Now!" Batman shouted. Ghost Rider understood. He drew in his fire. For a moment the tunnel dimmed, as if someone turned down the world's brightness. Then he released it all at once into the demon's chest. The Hellfire blast was focused, a narrow, intense column of orange and blue flame. It pushed past the demon's twisted steel ribs and into the core where Red Jack's tattoo glowed. For a heartbeat, the demon tried to twist that energy, to swallow it. But this was not normal fire. It was punishment. The mark on Red Jack's chest cracked. He screamed, half merged into the demon's body. Every sin he had ever committed slammed into him, layered over by the sins of the people who had hired him, the lives he had ruined, the fear he had sold. The demon's scream joined his. Then the whole thing imploded. The metal collapsed inward, crunching into a tight ball that glowed cherry red, then slowly dimmed. The lights in the tunnel flickered and went dark. Only Ghost Rider's flames and Batman's flare lit the space. For a second, there was silence. Then a pipe burst somewhere and water began to drip. Batman's ears rang, but he heard coughing. He moved again, checking bodies, finding pulses, making sure the civilians had survived the collapse and the fear attack. Ghost Rider stepped away from the cooling metal ball. Red Jack's body lay half out of it, more fused than free, but clearly dead. His eyes were empty. His tattoo was burned into a different shape now, a mark Batman had seen once before on Neron's files. He knelt. On the crime boss's chest, the lines formed a sharper version of the sigil they had seen in the Narrows and the old church. This one glowed faintly green, even in death. Batman looked up at Ghost Rider. Someone is using your hellfire as a key, he said. They're turning people like him into doors. Ghost Rider's flames flared. Neron, he said. The name came out like a curse. A lord of hell. Not mine. Another. Johnny's fist clenched. He took the souls I touched, he thought. He's taking people I saved. And kids. Luis. Heat rolled off him in waves. Batman stood. Then we stop him, he said. Together. Ghost Rider looked at him. You still will not kill, the spirit said. Even a demon lord. I'll stop him, Batman replied. If that means breaking his body, blocking his magic, locking him in his own realm, I'll do it. But I won't become him. That line still matters. Johnny felt a strange respect stir. You would stand in front of a demon lord with only that line, Zarathos observed. He stands in front of everything with that line, Johnny thought. Ghost Rider's flames settled. Then we make a plan, he said. We find his marks. We find his chains. We break them. Batman nodded. He helped a dazed club-goer to her feet and pointed her toward the slope and the emergency ladder. As she passed Ghost Rider, she flinched, then whispered, "Thank you," without quite meeting his burning eyes. Batman heard it. Ghost Rider did too. He said nothing, but his fire burned a little steadier. By the time they climbed out of the tunnel, the club above was a wreck. Fire crews had arrived. Police lined the street. People in silver blankets sat on curbs, shivering more from shock than from cold. Gordon spotted Batman first. He rushed over. "What happened?" he demanded. Seismic sensors lit up like we had an earthquake. Power spiked, then dropped. "Summoning gone wrong," Batman said. "Demon fused with the building and the power lines. It's gone now. Most people made it out." Gordon swore under his breath. "And the demon?" he asked. "Did our flaming friend handle it?" Batman glanced back. Ghost Rider stood in the shadow of a ruined wall, flames dim now. For once, the police didn't raise their guns. They just watched from a distance, unsure. "He helped," Batman said. "He also drew it here in a way, by chasing the mark. But he contained it when it mattered." "And the property damage?" Gordon asked dryly. Batman almost smiled. "I'll talk to Wayne Enterprises," he said. "We'll add Club, swallowed by Demon, to the donation list." Gordon snorted. He looked past Batman at Ghost Rider. "Is he with you now?" he asked. Batman shook his head. "He's with himself," he said. "But for now, we're pointed at the same enemy." Gordon nodded slowly. "Then I'll tell my people not to shoot," he said. "At least not first." He turned to shout orders. Batman went back to the shadow. Ghost Rider watched him approach. "The demon below was not Neron," the rider said. "Just a pet." "I know," Batman said. "But it was connected, and it gave us this." He held up a small scan card with an image of the burned sigil. "I'll send this to Zatanna," he said. "She might be able to track others like it." Ghost Rider's flames flickered. "Neron likes chains," he said. "Souls bound in them. There will be more marks, more doors, and he will not stop stealing people until we close them." Batman nodded. "Then we hunt those marks," he said. "Systematically. No more falling through floors. No more demons in nightclubs if we can help it." Ghost Rider tilted his head. "Your city will still break," the spirit said, "even without demons." Batman's eyes were steady. "Then I'll keep fixing it," he said, "with or without hellfire." They stood in silence for a few seconds. Sirens wailed, fire hoses sprayed. Reporters tried to get close and were pushed back by police lines. Finally, Ghost Rider climbed onto his bike. "We hunt at dusk," he said. "Follow the marks. Find the chains." Batman nodded once. "Meet me on the GCPD rooftop tonight," he said. We'll compare notes." Ghost Rider revved the engine. Flames burst from the wheels. He shot up the ruined wall and vanished into the dirty Gotham sky. Batman watched him go. Alfred's voice crackled softly in his ear. "I do hope you know what you're doing, sir," Alfred said. "We are now, what is the term? Riding shotgun with a demon." Batman's eyes followed the fading trail of fire. "He's not the only one with a demon," he said quietly. "He just wears his on the outside." He turned and walked toward the Batmobile. Behind him, Gotham's newest crater steamed in the cool night air, and the city whispered about a bat and a rider who had fought a machine demon under their feet. Somewhere far below, in darker tunnels and deeper realms, Neron smiled and adjusted his plan. Here's the continuation with Act 5, and then the epilogue in full prose. The night started to feel almost normal, for Gotham anyway. Ghost Rider's fire became another strange thing people talked about on late-night radio. Some shows called him Hell's Cop. Others said he was a curse. One host kept a running joke. Every time the news showed melted pavement, he hit a buzzer and shouted, "Wayne Foundation Road Fund, add another $1 million." In the cave, Alfred actually did. He stood beside the Bat computer with a tablet in hand. "Another 3 incidents," he said. "1 rooftop, 1 alley, and a very unlucky parking meter. I trust you will encourage our fiery visitor to use the new reinforced paths I suggested, sir." Bruce peered at the map on the main screen. Red lines showed Ghost Rider's recent routes. Blue lines showed Wayne Enterprises' new enhanced fire-resistant surfaces, laid quietly around known trouble spots. So far, the rider hit only half of them. "I'll mention it," Bruce said. "Though I'm not sure Please Park on the Fireproof Streets works on a spirit of vengeance." Damien swung his legs from a nearby console. "He is learning," Damien said. "The last time we patrolled together, he rode on the old rail tracks. Less damage." "He also scared 3 city workers into quitting," Alfred muttered. They thought the apocalypse had arrived when a burning skeleton rolled past their repair truck. Bruce's eyes followed a line moving across the city. On one view, Ghost Rider's fire raced along an elevated rail. On another, Batman's own tracker showed his glide path between 2 towers. They had started covering different parts of the city on purpose. Batman took the common criminals, the muggers, the car thieves, the desperate people who could still change. Ghost Rider hunted deeper monsters, a human trafficker with a secret basement, a corrupt judge who sold verdicts in cash and souls, a hidden cult cell that had tried to copy old sigils and failed. It was not a comfortable balance, but it was a balance, for now. Johnny Blaze's life became a loop. Daylight. He slept, hid, tried to act like a normal man for an hour or 2. He bought cheap coffee from a corner shop where the owner now greeted him by name. He helped an elderly neighbor carry her groceries up 3 flights of stairs. He checked if Luis was back in his building. He wasn't. Night. He burned. Ghost Rider roared through streets and alleys, chasing the feeling of pain that was not his own. He tore through a warehouse full of trafficked people and left their captors on the floor, souls screaming under the weight of their crimes. He found a corporate tower where one floor held a private server full of illegal deals. His fire smoked in the data centers, frying the right drives, leaving the rest of the building untouched. Sometimes Batman was 2 buildings away, watching. Sometimes Batman worked on the other side of the city and heard about it later. Inside the skull, Johnny spoke more often now. "I don't want to burn everything," he told Zarathos. "Not here. Not when there are people trying to fix the place. This city will never be clean. the spirit said. You feel it. You see it. One gang falls, another rises. One demon is sent away, another knocks on the door. Maybe, Johnny said. But I've seen what happens when we stop trying. It's worse. Zarathos didn't answer, but the fire stayed steady. One night, Johnny woke somewhere else. He was not under a bridge or in a ruined building or on a rooftop. He was standing on black glass. Above him, there was no sky, only darkness. Below him, he could see shapes moving, souls in chains, twisting slowly in a sea of shadow. A throne rose up in front of him. Neron sat on it. He looked almost human, in a sharp suit and an easy smile. His eyes ruined the image. They were too bright, too hungry. A faint green glow curled around his fingers like smoke. Johnny Blaze, Neron said. Welcome. Ghost Rider flickered around Johnny without fully forming. Fire crawled over his arms, then vanished. This place didn't like the rider. It pushed him back. Where am I? Johnny asked. A corner of my realm touching your little world, Neron said. Not quite hell, not quite earth. A meeting room between. Don't worry. If I meant to chain you, you wouldn't be standing. Johnny looked down. Chains did snake below the glass, but none touched his feet. Yet. You took people, Johnny said. People I saved, people I judged. A boy named Luis. Neron smiled wider. Ah, the boy who gave you a sandwich, he said. You see why I like this city, Johnny. Even its children are interesting, brave, foolish. Perfect hooks for souls like yours. He stood and walked closer. The chains below shifted, letting him glide over them. You bring a foreign fire into my hunting ground, Neron said. You walk through fear and guilt. Everywhere you go, souls shake loose. I simply collect what falls. Johnny's fist clenched. They didn't fall, he said. You ripped them out. You used my trail. Neron shrugged. Details, he said. Look at it from a business point of view. You create product. I provide storage and long-term investment. Johnny took a step forward. Fire flared around his hands. Give them back, he said. Neron laughed softly. If I did, you'd have no reason to hear my offer, he said. And you do want to hear it, Johnny. I know what you want most. He snapped his fingers. The glass below them rippled. Scenes rose up like reflections. Johnny saw himself on his old bike before the curse. He saw a small trailer with warm light inside. He saw a woman's face he had loved. His father, still alive, still strong. Crowds cheering a stunt jump that did not end in fire. He saw a world without the rider. I can send you home, Neron said. Not just to your world, to your life before. I can lift the curse. No more fire, no more screaming. No more guilt that isn't yours. You could wake up in a bed that smells like clean sheets, not smoke and damp stone. Johnny's throat felt tight. The images hurt more than any flame. What's the cost? He asked. Neron smiled. Very light, he said. For someone like you. You let me finish my work in Gotham. You let me use the fracture you opened with your fire. I will burn only those who truly deserve it. You of all people can respect that. Johnny shook his head. You won't stop at them, he said. Demons never stop at them. Neron's eyes flashed, but his smile didn't break. Fine, he said. Let's be honest. I take what I want, but I can focus my attention. I can make this city's worst nightmares permanent. No more Joker, no more Scarecrow, no more crime bosses hoping to buy magic protection. I clean the field. The Bat wears himself out on petty thieves and crooked cops. A balance. He leaned closer. You get peace, Neron said. Gotham gets a purge. I get a new branch office. Everybody wins. Johnny's hands shook. He wanted to say yes. For one moment, he wanted it so badly it scared him. No more waking up in ash. No more empty skull. No more watching kids disappear because he arrived too late to scare the right person. If I say yes, he asked, voice low, what happens to him? To the bat? Neron's smile dipped at the edges, but stayed. He continues, Neron said, or breaks. Heroes are stubborn. He might even thank you secretly when his worst enemies vanish forever. He reached out a hand. Take the deal, Neron said. You get your life back. He gets a cleaner city than he ever could make. I get the fire to flow how it should. Johnny stared at the hand. He heard Luis's voice in his memory. Try not to burn down my building, okay? He saw Batman standing in front of a collapsing demon club, cape torn, gas mask in place, pulling people from falling rubble without thinking of himself first. He saw all the times the rider had judged someone he didn't like at first, then pulled back when he smelled the truth. He saw the line. No, Johnny said. Neron's eyes went cold. Think carefully, he said. I did, Johnny answered. You want Gotham broken so you can buy it cheap. You want me out of the way or on your side. You're not cleaning anything. You're carving it into pieces and selling it. He stepped back. Keep your offer, he said. I'll keep the curse. Hellfire flickered around him. The rider pushed through the glass between realms, forcing his way into shape. Flame became bone. Bone became the skull. Zarathos spoke, voice like stone grinding on stone. The guilty will burn, the spirit said, but not for you. Neron's face twisted for the first time. This is not over, he hissed. When you watch more children vanish, you will wish you had taken my hand. The glass dropped. Johnny felt the world flip. He woke up, under the bridge again, chest heaving, hands still hot. He grabbed his head with both hands. Okay, he whispered. Okay, you heard that too? I heard, Zarathos said. He offers easy fire, quick work, no pain for us. It is a trap. Yeah, Johnny said. He let out a short, rough laugh. We actually agree. Mark your calendar. I do not keep calendars, the spirit said, but I keep grudges. Johnny climbed to his feet. We warn the bat, he said. Neron's making his move. Bruce met the League in the watchtower again. Holographic Gotham spun in front of them, now covered in little glowing dots. Each one marked a Neron sigil they had found, on the side of a bridge, in the basement of a church, under the floor of a courthouse, carved small into the concrete near Crime Alley. Zatanna stood with arms folded, face tight. Whoever is doing these has range, she said. These aren't sloppy street rituals. These are carefully placed. It's like someone walked through the city with a demon blueprint. Ghost Rider's energy helped map the weak points, Batman said. Every place he burned deep, someone came later and carved a mark nearby. Superman studied the pattern. It centers here, he said, pointing. Crime Alley. Bruce did not react on the outside. Inside, something wound tight. This is bigger than sigils, Zatanna said. Neron is trying to anchor a full avatar on Earth. Not just pets, not just borrowed bodies. If he pulls it off, your demon friend will look like a campfire next to a volcano. I have a ritual that can sever the rider from this reality, she added carefully. Cut the chain that links his hellfire to your world. It would push Zarathos out, back where he came from. The door he used to get here would slam shut. Diana turned to her. And Johnny? She asked. Zatanna looked down. He might stay, she said, without powers, or he might be pulled along. The spell isn't gentle. It grabs everything linked to the foreign energy and yanks. Superman frowned. You're saying we might have to kill him, he said. I'm saying we might have to risk it, Zatanna said. If Neron finishes this ritual, we're going to wish the worst thing we had to worry about was a flaming skeleton. The room went quiet. Everyone looked at Batman. He felt the weight of their eyes and of the city below. He thought of Johnny turning away from burning a terrified teenager who'd been dragged into a gang job, choosing instead to burn the man who forced him. He thought of Ghost Rider standing next to him under the club, trusting him enough to aim his fire where Batman said. He thought of all the people Neron had already taken. You want to tear him out like a bad tooth, Bruce said, before we know if we can use that fire to push Neron back. Zatanna met his gaze. I want to keep this world standing, she said. If that means losing one man from another reality, I need you to at least consider it. Bruce's jaw clenched. I'll consider all options, he said. But I'm not signing off on an execution ritual. Not yet. Not while we still have ways to fight, and Johnny is still choosing to save people. Superman nodded slowly. I trust your judgment on this, he said. But if things get too close to the edge, I'll call, Batman said. You'll know. Diana stepped closer to him. Remember your line, she said quietly. Whatever happens in that alley, do not let a demon push you past it. Bruce nodded once. He turned away from the hologram and stared at the tiny mark that was Crime Alley. He hated that it always came back to that street. Night fell over Gotham like a heavy blanket. Ghost Rider waited on the GCPD rooftop, fired dim so he wouldn't melt the signal. The bat signal sat dark for once. The city glowed. Batman stepped out of the shadow. You look worse than usual, Ghost Rider said. Long day, Batman answered. They faced each other. Neron came to me, Johnny said, speaking through the flames. He tried to buy me, tried to buy you too, in his own way. Purge the city, send me home. Batman's eyes narrowed behind the cowl. What did you say? He asked. The only thing worth saying, Johnny replied. No. Batman's shoulders eased a fraction. He's almost ready, Bruce said. The sigils circle Crime Alley. He's going to use that place as a knife, cut a hole with it. Ghost Rider's flames brightened. The alley where your parents died, Zarathos said. He likes old wounds. Batman ignored the chill that gave him. Zatanna and Constantine prepared counter-sigils, he said. Reverse patterns. They're key to your hellfire, not his. I've already placed most of them around the city. When he starts his ritual, we trigger yours. So you want my fire in his mouth, Ghost Rider said. Exactly, Batman said. He thinks your presence makes his job easier. We make it harder instead. Ghost Rider nodded slowly. And if your magic friend's ritual fails, he asked. If Neron pushes through anyway? Batman looked him straight in the sockets. Then we improvise, he said. But I won't start by trying to erase you. We still need you in the fight. Johnny felt something settle inside him. Respect, not trust in everything, but trust in enough. Then let's end this, he said. He stepped off the roof. The bike came up from the side of the building like a loyal beast, catching him in mid-air. Flames shot from the exhaust as he and Batman headed toward the same place from different angles, Crime Alley. The air felt wrong as soon as Batman entered the area, cold and hot at the same time, too still. The sounds of traffic faded behind a thick quiet. Streetlights flickered, then dimmed. He walked down the familiar street, cape brushing his boots. The old movie theatre sign was still there, broken. The pavement had been patched many times. The marker where his parents had fallen was no longer visible, but he felt it like a weight. Tonight, new marks burned. They glowed sickly green along the walls, on the ground, even etched faintly into the air. Thin chains of light ran between them, crossing overhead, forming a web. In the center of that web, spectral figures hung. Souls. Batman recognized some faces. The fruit seller, the quiet mechanic. Red Jack fused into metal. Scarecrow's twisted echo. A dozen others who had brushed against hellfire over the last weeks. And higher up, smaller, a boy holding an invisible chain with both hands. Luis. His eyes were wide with fear. "Help!" Luis shouted. His voice came through like it traveled through water. "Mr. Blaze, Batman, anybody." Batman's teeth clenched. He scanned the area. The reverse sigils he had placed glowed softer, tucked into the corners. Under a broken bench, behind a loose brick, painted small in places nobody would look. They were ready, but not active yet. A crack split the air above the alley. Neron stepped out, not in flesh, but in a tall, sharp-edged avatar made of smoke and fire and green light. Chains hung from his arms. His smile was still calm. "Welcome, gentlemen," he said. "Right on time." Ghost Rider rode in from the far side, hellfire cutting through the unnatural cold. He skidded to a stop between Neron and Batman, chain uncoiling. "You touch him," Ghost Rider said, pointing at Luis, "and there won't be enough of you left to sweep up." Neron chuckled. "I already have," he said. "I touched all of them. You brought them to me with your fire. You pressed your brand into their souls. I simply followed up." Batman took a slow step closer. "What do you want?" he asked. "You already have a foothold. Why this show?" Neron spread his arms, taking in the alley, the souls, the chains. "Because this is a court," he said, "a trial. Gotham is on the stand. A bat who fails to end his monsters. A rider who burns without thinking of the ripples. I offer a verdict, and I offer you both a chance to choose your own roles." He pointed at Batman. "You, Dark Knight," he said. "You can finally end the worst of them. I have lists, names, Joker, Two-Face, Black Mask, men and women who will keep killing as long as they breathe. Mark them in my book with your own hand, and I will take their souls tonight. Quietly, no mess, no trace. Your city will be safer before dawn." He pointed at Ghost Rider. "And you, Johnny Blaze," he said, "you can stop wandering. Accept my power fully here. Take command of the spirit. I will let you pour out judgment until the sky is clear. No more half measures. No more cracks for me to slip through." He held out both hands. "In return," Neron said, "I send you home when it's done, or I let you rebuild here as you like. I am generous. Take the deals." The chains around, the souls rattled. Luis looked down, eyes huge. "Don't," he shouted. "Don't trust him. He's lying." Neron flicked a finger. Luis's mouth snapped shut like someone had turned off the sound. Batman's fist tightened. He remembered every file on every villain Neron had named. The bodies they left behind, the laughs, the taunts, the times they had escaped again and again. The people begging him, whispering, "Why are they still alive?" "I could stop them in a line," Neron said softly. "No more games. No more Arkham revolving door. No one would ever know how the nightmare ended. Only that it finally did." He stepped closer to Ghost Rider. "And you," he said. "Think of the people in this alley. Think of Luis. His soul is balanced between fear and hope. If you walk away, he hangs. If you accept, I let him go. I let all of these go. You can save them, Johnny. All you have to do is say yes." Johnny's heart pounded. He's lying, he told himself. But part of him still wanted to believe. His eyes went to Luis. The boy reached out, chains cutting into his spectral hands. Batman saw the boy too. He saw smaller hands once, reaching for him as a gun went off. He saw the Joker's face, a gun with a smile painted on it, a crowbar, explosions, graves. If I mark them, he thought, Gotham sleeps easier. Then he saw something else. He saw what it would do to him. If he chose who burned forever, he would cross his own line. He would become exactly the thing he had fought against, a judge, jury, and executioner who never had to answer for his choices. He would become a demon's partner. Ghost Rider's fire flared bright, then dimmed, then brightened again. Inside, Johnny and Zarathos were both silent. For once, they had to think. Neron watched them with sharp interest. What will it be? He asked. Heroes, villains, or something better than both? Batman spoke first. No, he said. Neron blinked. Excuse me, he asked. No deals, Batman said. His voice was flat but strong. Not with you, not ever. You would let them go? Neron asked. You would walk away from a chance to end monsters? I will end them here, Batman said. If I can. I will stop them every time they rise. But I won't do it by handing you the keys to my soul, or this city's soul. He looked up at Luis. I won't raise you on a world where a demon decides who lives and who dies, he said. Neron's eyes narrowed. He turned to Ghost Rider. And you, he asked. Surely you, of all beings, understand the need for final punishment. You are punishment, Johnny spoke before the spirit. I am also a man, he said. You want me tired and desperate enough to give you everything. But here's the thing, Neron. I'm tired. I'm not done. Hellfire rose around him. Zarathos roared, full and awake. We do not serve hell, the spirit said, voice booming down the alley. We serve vengeance itself. You twist it. You put it on chains. We break chains. Ghost Rider stepped forward. Flames rolled off his bones hotter than before. They did not spread. They didn't lick the walls or touch the hanging souls. They focused inward, toward the sigils Batman had hidden. Batman raised a small device. He pressed the trigger. All around the alley, the reverse symbols lit up in pale orange light. They pulsed once, twice, then synced with Ghost Rider's hellfire. Neron's eyes widened. What are you? Now, Batman shouted. Ghost Rider threw his head back. The fire that surged from him this time was not a wild blast. It was a controlled wave, shaped by every symbol Zatanna and Constantine had carved and Bruce had placed. Hellfire shot into the air, hit the network of green marks, and twisted. The green lines sizzled and flared. Where they met the orange light, they warped from smooth curves into jagged breaks. Chains snapped. The air cracked like glass. Neron reached out, trying to hold his web together. The reversed sigils pulled instead. They bit into his avatar, dragging on the energy he had poured into this place. Hellfire wrapped around him, not as fuel, but as a leash. You think you can use me? Zarathos roared. You think you can drink my fire, choke on it? The chains around the soul shattered. Luis fell, then stopped, suspended in soft orange light instead of green. The other souls drifted downward, shaken but free. Batman moved. He fired grapnels that snagged the nearest ghost lights and guided them gently back toward their bodies, waiting on hospital beds, street corners, and cheap apartments all over Gotham. Zatanna's distant magic picked up the work, pulling those who had died fully toward whatever judgment waited beyond. Neron screamed. His avatar cracked. You cannot hold me forever, he howled. This world is sick. It will call me back. Batman faced him. Maybe, he said, but not tonight. One last surge of hellfire, focused through the hidden circles, slammed into Neron's chest. His avatar shattered into shards of green light that whirled upward and vanished into a closing tear in the sky. The marks on the walls burned out. The chains were gone. The alley was just an alley again. Ghost Rider staggered. His flames flickered thin now. He fell to one knee. Batman caught Luis as the boy dropped the last few feet into his arms, solid now. The boy gasped and clung to him, shaking. "You're okay," Batman said. "You're here." "Where's Mr. Blaze?" Luis asked, voice small. Batman looked up. Johnny Blaze lay where the rider had been, human again, steam rising from his skin. His clothes were charred. His breathing was rough, but steady. He opened one eye. "Still here," he rasped. Luis squirmed until Batman set him down. The boy ran to Johnny and threw his arms around him. "You came," Luis said. "I knew you would." Johnny patted his back weakly. "Took the long way," he said. Batman scanned the alley. A few glowing threads still hung where souls had been. Some snapped back into living bodies miles away. Others drifted upward beyond his reach. "Did we get them all?" he asked quietly. Ghost Rider pushed himself up to sitting. "No," he said. "Some were already too far. Neron keeps what he can grab." Luis pulled back and wiped his nose. "What does that mean?" he asked. "It means we saved who we could," Johnny said gently. "We didn't save everyone." Luis looked sad, but he nodded. "That's still good," he said. Batman studied Johnny. "The path home," Bruce said. "The one he was building through you. It's gone, isn't it?" Johnny nodded. "When we flipped the ritual, we cut his link," he said. "And mine." I felt the door slam. "So you're stuck here," Batman said. Johnny shrugged one shoulder. "I've been stuck in worse places," he said. "At least this one has kids who share sandwiches." Luis smiled a little. Batman let out a slow breath. He could feel the pressure from the League in the back of his mind. The offer to tear Johnny out was still on the table as a last resort. But now, after this, after he had watched Johnny turn down peace to keep fighting for people who weren't even his, that option felt less like a tool and more like a betrayal. "I had a way to banish you," Batman said. "Maybe kill you. Zatanna gave it to me. I didn't use it." Johnny looked at him. "Why not?" he asked. Batman's eyes went to the spot where Neron's avatar had stood. "Because you stood between this city and hell when it counted," he said. "Because you refused his offer. And because Gotham needs people who know what lines they will not cross." He paused. "So do I," he added. Ghost Rider's flames flickered back to life around Johnny, soft but steady. "You still don't trust me fully," Johnny said. "No," Batman said, "but I trust you enough." He looked down at Luis. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you home." Luis nodded and grabbed his hand without thinking. Batman felt the small fingers squeeze and something in his chest eased. Johnny watched them start down the alley. "Hey, Bat," he called. Batman glanced back. "You're never going to like how I do things," Ghost Rider said. "And I'm never going to like watching people I've burned walk out of jail in a week. But if you call, I'll come. For demons. For monsters like Neron. For the stuff your fist can't punch." Batman nodded once. "And if you ever go too far," he said, "if you start burning people who can still change, I'll stop you. Or die trying." Ghost Rider nodded back. "Fair deal," he said. The bike rolled itself to his side, wheels lighting up again. As he swung a leg over it, Luis looked back. "Will I see you again?" Luis asked. "Yeah, kid," Johnny said. "You'll hear me first." The bike roared. Fire flew. Johnny Blaze and the Spirit of Vengeance rode out of Crime Alley and into the night. Batman walked in the other direction, a boy's hand in his, the city ahead of them both. Gotham was still cracked, still tired, still wrong in many ways. But tonight, hell had lost. And that was enough. Dawn painted the sky a dull grey over Gotham. On a high rooftop, far above most of the mess, Bruce and Johnny stood side by side. Bruce had the cowl off, tucked under one arm. His hair was damp with early morning mist. His eyes had dark circles under them, but there was a hint of something else there. Relief, maybe. Or just one more night survived. Johnny leaned against a low wall. Jacket burned at the edges, gloves frayed. His face looked older in the soft light. The fire was gone. He was human for the moment. Below, the city moved slowly. Delivery trucks, early workers, street sweepers. "You ever get used to it?" Johnny asked, looking down and seeing all this and knowing it's never going to be clean. Bruce thought about it. "No," he said. "I don't want to get used to it. The day I do, I stop fighting." Johnny nodded. He watched a tiny figure cross a street far below. For a second, he thought it might be Luis. It probably wasn't, but the idea made him smile. "You could have taken Neron's offer," Bruce said. "A world where your villains just vanish. No more rows of cells. No more Arkham escapes." Bruce's jaw tightened. "I thought about it," he said, for half a second. Johnny looked at him. "What stopped you?" he asked. Bruce's eyes stayed on the city. "I saw the next step," he said. "Once I mark one name, it gets easier to mark another, and another. One day, I look in the mirror, and there's no line at all. Just a man who points and watches people burn. I don't want that man in my city, or in my skin." Johnny let out a breath. "Yeah," he said. "I know that guy. He's not fun at parties." The corner of Bruce's mouth twitched. "Only you would joke about it," he said. "It's how I stay sane," Johnny answered. He looked down at his hands. "Well, as sane as a guy who turns into a flaming skeleton can be." A door hissed open behind them. Alfred stepped out, carrying a small tablet. He looked at Johnny, then at the scorched section of the roof where Ghost Rider's bike had once parked too close to a vent. "I see our guest has survived another night," Alfred said. "Very good. I was afraid I'd have to cancel the new construction order." Johnny blinked. "Construction?" he asked. Bruce turned and nodded toward the far side of the roof. Johnny followed their gaze. There, built onto the side of Wayne Tower, was a new platform. It was thick metal with strange vents and heat sinks underneath. Its surface had a patterned texture that looked like it could handle a volcano. On the edge, someone had bolted a small, neat sign. "No melting the roof." Ghost Rider stared. "You built me a parking spot," Johnny said. Alfred sniffed. "Wayne Tower's insurance premiums are high enough as it is, Mr. Blaze," he said. "If you insist on landing your infernal transport on our property, we might as well make sure it doesn't turn the structure into Swiss cheese." Johnny laughed. It was short and hoarse, but real. "I'll try to hit the target," he said. "No promises about graceful landings." "We will accept non-destructive as a starting point," Alfred said. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to meet with a very confused city budget committee about unexplained heat damage." He turned to Bruce. "I have prepared talking points," Alfred added. "Please try not to show them any footage of our guest without warning. I'd rather not cause a mass fainting in the council chamber." Bruce nodded. "I'll be careful," he said. Alfred went back inside. Johnny stared at the parking platform again. "Nobody ever did that for me," he said quietly. Built you a landing pad? Bruce asked. Yeah, Johnny said. Most places just tell me to get out. Bruce looked at him. Most places don't need you the way this one does, he said. They stood in silence for a few seconds. Down below, sirens wailed in the distance. A normal siren, not a demon one. A traffic accident. A fire in an old building. Everyday Gotham problems. We didn't stop everything, Johnny said. No, Bruce replied. We stopped enough, for now. Johnny nodded. Guess that's all you ever get, he said. Enough for now. He straightened. So what now? He asked. You keep punching clowns and corrupt CEOs. I keep burning monsters in basements. We share notes on hell lords at rooftop meetings. For a start, Bruce said, you focus on the worst, the ones no court can touch. I focus on keeping people from falling that far if I can. And if we disagree about someone, Johnny asked, about what they deserve? Bruce put the cowl back over his head. Then we argue, Batman said. We try to convince each other, and if I have to stand in your way, I will. Ghost Rider's fire sparked around Johnny for a second, then settled. Good, he said. If I ever stop listening, someone should. He started toward the edge of the rooftop. The bike was already climbing the side of the tower, wheels glowing faintly as it rode vertical stone. It pulled up beside the new parking pad and idled there like an impatient horse. Johnny swung a leg over the wall and landed on the bike. He looked back once. You know, Bats, he said, for a guy who dresses like a nightmare, you give people a lot of hope. Batman looked out at the city. For a guy who looks like a nightmare, he said, you save more people than you scare. Johnny grinned. Don't tell anyone, he said. It'll ruin my image. The bike roared. He rolled it onto the fireproof platform just to test it. The metal glowed faintly, but did not melt. Alfred would be pleased. Ghost Rider's flames erupted, wrapping him in bone and fire again. The spirit laughed once, low and harsh, but with a thread of something new in it. Maybe not joy, but not pure anger either. He shot off the platform and into the sky, leaving a controlled trail of fire that curved away from the nearest glass windows. Batman watched until the light vanished. Gotham changed slowly. Kids on schoolyards argued about who was cooler, Batman or the Fire Skull. Some drew them together on notebook covers, the Bat and the Rider back to back. Others made up stories about them fighting aliens and dragons far from the city. Criminals talked too. Some gangs swore to avoid certain streets after dark. That's Rider ground, they said. You don't go there unless you want your soul cooked. Others tried to copy Neron's marks and got burned by cheap fakes and quick justice. The Gotham Fire Department filed new reports. Unusual heat source, they wrote. No evidence of normal fuel. Wayne Foundation offered to fund new flame-resistant coatings for key infrastructure. Firefighters told stories about seeing a flaming bike jump over their trucks during a warehouse call, only to find the worst part of the blaze already mysteriously under control. In quiet corners, people lit candles, some for lost ones Neron had taken, some in thanks for strange saves, a skeleton pulling a child from a car, a dark figure cutting a chain before it snapped. On a radio show, the host updated his Hellfire damage counter. We're at 17 melted streets, he said, 3 rooftops, and 1 unlucky hot dog cart that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But get this, serious violent crime in the worst blocks is down 10% this month, so I guess we'll take the road work. He laughed. Batman, if you're listening, tell your demon biker friend to stick to the new fireproof lanes, he added. The taxpayers will thank you. In the shadows between worlds, Others watched. The spectre, God's spirit of vengeance in this reality, stood in a place that was not a place and regarded Gotham with blank white eyes. "The balance shifts," he said. His voice sounded like thunder far away. "Another vengeance walks these streets." Constantine, smoking in an alley a world away, squinted up at the sky. "Yeah, well," he muttered. "At least this one seems to be chatty and slightly less murder-happy these days. Could be worse." He flicked ash into a puddle and wondered how long before some new cosmic mess dragged him back to Gotham. For now, he decided to enjoy a quiet cigarette. Quiet never lasted long where bats and demons lived, but quiet existed for a few heartbeats. On another rooftop, smaller and rougher, Luis sat on the ledge with his legs swinging. He looked out at the city. His mom had made him promise not to go under bridges alone anymore. He had agreed. He had also promised not to talk to flaming skulls without a grown-up nearby. He thought that was a pretty fair deal. He held a small sketch pad. On the page, he had drawn two figures, a tall man in a cape with a bat symbol and a skeleton in a leather jacket with a burning chain. They stood not as enemies, but as partners. He added a small sign above them, "No melting." He smiled. Down below, a motorcycle engine rumbled somewhere. Luis looked up. Far away, a faint streak of fire crossed the morning sky and then vanished between buildings. Life went on in Gotham. People hurried to jobs. Kids went to school. Villains plotted. Heroes patrolled. But now, when whispers of demons drifted up from old sewers and forgotten basements, the city had more than one answer. A bat in the dark, a rider on fire, and between them, a thin, stubborn line where justice stood, refusing to turn into simple wrath. It was not perfect, it was not peaceful, but it was theirs. And as long as they kept choosing that line again and again, night after night, Gotham's story would keep going, different than before, but still alive.